Welcome to today's explainer. So I want you to picture this. You wake up, it's a perfectly ordinary day. The sun's shining, your alarm's ringing maybe a little too loud, and of course, you're running late. But then you spot something completely out of place. A device that definitely doesn't belong to you, and it's holding a message that just completely defies logic. Today, we're unpacking this really thrilling sci-fi narrative called The Phone That Knew Tomorrow. We're going to break down the timeline, the rules of this universe, and the massive, mind-bending twist of a story where knowing the future might actually be the most dangerous thing of all. It all kicks off with this incredibly chilling line: "Don't take the 8:30 bus." Seriously, imagine finding a strange, unrecognized phone just sitting quietly on your desk, and this is the very first text message that lights up the screen. No context whatsoever, no sender ID, just this highly specific, super ominous directive. It sets the entire story in motion right out of the gate, instantly turning a boring, mundane morning into a high-stakes mystery.
Okay, let's dive into this. Honestly, put yourself in the protagonist's shoes for a second here. If a totally random device gave you a terrifying prediction, would you just laugh it off? Maybe think it's a prank from a friend? Or would that creeping sense of paranoia actually make you hesitate? Well, this is the exact psychological dilemma faced by our main character, Arjun. He's a 19-year-old college student who's basically about to have the absolute strangest, most terrifying day of his entire life.
Part 1, An Impossible Morning Warning.
So the story leans really heavily into this stark contrast. On one hand, we've got Arjun's expectation, which is just the familiar, everyday chaos of waking up late, grabbing your bag, and frantically trying to get out the door. But on the other hand, we have the jarring reality, the sudden sci-fi intrusion of a second phone literally manifesting out of nowhere. It's such a brilliant narrative device because it grounds this impossible situation in something we deeply relate to. I mean, we've all been late for school, right? But we definitely haven't all found a prophetic device waiting for us on our nightstand. While his mom is literally calling for him from the kitchen to come get breakfast, the phone buzzes a second time, giving us this incredibly specific warning. Notice the detail here. It doesn't just say danger. No, it gives him a precise time, an exact event, an accident, and an actionable alternative. Take the 8:45. Now, Arjun's initial reaction is pure skepticism. He nervously laughs it off, and I mean, why wouldn't he? How could a piece of everyday technology possibly know the future? But that extreme specificity is just enough to make him hesitate. He decides to wait. And then, the first major shock hits. Arjun is standing there at the bus stop, and suddenly, the sound of sirens completely pierces the air. Word starts rippling through the crowd around him that there's been a massive accident on the 8:30 bus route. He just freezes. The phone wasn't playing a prank. It was absolutely terrifyingly right. The whole idea of it being a coincidence is completely shattered, and Arjun is just left staring at this device with his hands shaking. Part 2, Testing the Future. So later on, Arjun meets up with his friend Rahul at college, and he is looking completely shell-shocked. He's trying to explain this bizarre situation, which, of course, Rahul totally laughs off, telling Arjun he just needs some sleep. But right then, the phone strikes again. It vibrates with a brand new message: "Don't sit near your window in next lecture." Now, this is a crucial turning point. Arjun decides he needs to actively test this prediction. He purposefully changes his seat, moving far away from the window. And this brilliantly illustrates just how fast the stakes are escalating. Literally moments after he moves, a massive construction accident outside sends heavy debris crashing right through the classroom window, shattering the glass exactly where Arjun was supposed to be sitting. The phone isn't just making vague guesses about some distant events anymore. It is actively, physically saving his life in real time. The reality of the situation just crashes down on him, honestly just as hard as that glass did. Part 3, The Rules of Survival. So, back alone in his room, Arjun is understandably freaking out and demands answers from the phone. The device actually responds by establishing the ground rules of this sci-fi universe. Step 1, you will receive 3 warnings per day. Step 2, never ignore the third warning. It's such a classic suspense mechanism, isn't it? By numbering the warnings, the story essentially gives the audience and the protagonist a ticking clock. It establishes incredibly clear life or death stakes. The phone delivers on its promise right away with the first 2 warnings for the night. First, don't go out after 10 p.m. Second, don't answer unknown calls. Now, notice how surprisingly mundane these instructions are. I mean, Arjun follows these first two rules super easily. He just stays inside, ignores his ringer, no big deal. But this brilliantly lulls both Arjun and us, the audience, into this false sense of security. It feels incredibly manageable, like, oh, I can totally survive this. Part 4, the inevitable explosion. Let's look at how this timeline has escalated throughout the day. At 8:30 a.m., we had the bus warning. In the afternoon, the insane classroom glass break. It's now fast approaching 10 p.m., and the tension is literally at a boiling point. The phone has been completely quiet, Arjun has been following the rules perfectly, and then, at exactly 9:58 p.m., just 2 minutes before his curfew rule kicks in, the phone violently and aggressively starts vibrating. The screen lights up with this terrifying command. Third warning, leave your house now. Notice the massive contradiction here. The first warning literally told him not to go out after 10 p.m. Now, at 9:58, it's telling him to run for his life. The panic immediately sets in. The environment instantly turns hostile. The power suddenly cuts out entirely, plunging Arjun into total darkness. The phone screen begins to glitch out frantically, just flashing the words "leave," "now," over and over again. Arjun scrambles in the pitch black, grabs his bag, and sprints out the door, running blindly out into the strangely empty street. He turns back around to look at his building, totally confused as to what is even happening. And then, boom. A massive, deafening explosion tears through his entire apartment complex. Fire alarms are blaring everywhere, chaos erupts in the distance. He just stands there shaking in the middle of the street. He escaped by mere seconds. The phone has saved him for the third and definitely most spectacular time today. Part 5, the midnight loop.
Okay, take a breath. The immediate physical danger has finally passed. In the silence right after the explosion, the phone screen lights up one last time with a message that changes absolutely everything. Arjun begs to know who is sending these texts. And the reply? I am you, 24 hours from now. Now, what's really interesting about this revelation is how it completely flips the narrative on its head. This isn't some super smart alien AI or a guardian angel. It's a full-on, mind-bending time travel mechanic.
Let's really break down the tragic realization that unfolds here. Arjun learns that he himself had to ensure the phone existed so he could survive the day. He's the one who sent those messages back in time to stop the disaster. But here is the truly horrific catch. This isn't a timeline he can just fix and walk away from. After midnight, the loop resets. He loses all his memories of the day. He hasn't just survived, he's completely trapped himself inside this day. Arjun is desperate at this point. He's typing frantically, begging to know how to break the cycle. Like, how does he get out of this endless loop of near-death experiences? But the future Arjun has no comfort to give him. The phone glitches heavily one last time, displaying these incredibly ominous words. Time is collapsing. The clock on the screen ticks forward. 11:58, 11:59 p.m. Arjun is in full panic mode, begging for it not to reset, desperately trying to hold on to his memories, his realization, his sheer survival. But the clock strikes midnight, and a blinding flash of white light consumes absolutely everything. And we come full circle. The alarm rings. Soft morning sounds. It's a completely ordinary morning. Arjun wakes up, feeling groggy, complaining about being late again. He looks over, and right there on his desk is a phone that doesn't belong to him. The screen lights up. Don't take the 8:30 bus. He has absolutely no memory of the explosions, the shattered glass, the sheer terror. Just a lingering, unexplainable sense of fear. The cycle has officially begun again. Which leaves us with this haunting final thought to ponder. Are these warnings actually meant to save us? Or, in a universe governed by fate and time loops, do they just trap us in time forever, cursed to endlessly repeat the exact moment we almost survived? It's a chilling paradox, isn't it? And it's exactly what makes The Phone That Knew Tomorrow such a phenomenal, compelling piece of storytelling. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Until next time, keep questioning what you think you know.